Ladies and gentlemen, this is your AEW Dynamite review on Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. I am Joseph Conlon here tonight with your Dynamite review. Thank you all for joining me, or for joining us here on the channel tonight. Overall, I thought tonight's Dynamite show, it was a solid show for me overall. It wasn't bad at all. We had a great opening match with Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian. We have the Young Bucks and Jon Moxley teaming up to face Omega and the Good Brothers on next week's Dynamite. I got a lot to say about that. We had the return of the Inner Circle, and we had the Arcade Anarchy, which I think blew everybody's expectations away with the main event. So I thought overall this was a solid show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring him on here right now. You already know, Wednesday nights. There he is, Wesley Williams, man. How are you, man?
Dude, I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic like I am every single Wednesday night. This is the best show in all of pro wrestling. I don't care if anybody disagrees with me on that, because these shows are freaking amazing, and I love the time that I spend for these 2 hours on Wednesday nights, and I love the fact that I get to come on here once again and give to you guys, the community, the IWC, the best reviews and the best content. The IWC right here on YouTube, right here on Big Fight Bill, alongside my partner Joseph Conlon, the main man right there.
Damn right.
And man, I mean, I cannot wait to talk about this show tonight, man. This was a great show tonight. I mean, AEW has not missed another week, another great Dynamite episode, and they are not missing at all with these shows post-Revolution. It's amazing.
Seems like you liked the show better than I did tonight. I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad show. I really did enjoy it, but, you know, there's a couple things I got to call out on, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll get to that, but before we do, if you guys have not already, be sure to go check out two things. Number one, go check out episode 4 of the Big Fight Fuel podcast if you haven't already. And go check out the Monday Night Raw review up on the channel, which, my God, did you see anything that happened on Monday?
I saw the clips on Twitter. That's all I saw, because you know I don't watch those shows.
Yeah.
That was that. I saw what was going on. Dreadful stuff, man. If you were to tell me this is WrestleMania season, I mean, like, I don't know, man. It's just like this. WrestleMania has lost all of its luster, but that's just a whole other different topic, man. I mean, we're here to talk about great pro wrestling, not that crappy show on Mondays that gives people in the community the worst wrestling, or even if it gives you wrestling, it probably just gives you the sorry excuse for entertainment, really. So
Damn right. You ready to talk about? We're going to talk about AEW, not Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. AEW, that's where it all is, man. AEW, all elite wrestling, not world's worst entertainment, WWE, as I like to call them.
Well, we start off tonight's Dynamite show with Christian Cage making his in-ring debut for the first time in 7 years. 7 years it's been for Christian. He went one-on-one with a familiar opponent in Frankie Kazarian. If you guys don't know that, these guys had a great feud. TNA 2007. These guys had a really good match. It felt old school. That's the takeaway I got from this, is how old school this match felt. It felt like they didn't feel like the fast-paced, usually opening match we get on Dynamite. It felt like these guys told a story. The struggle was real at some points for Christian. It shows, like, can these guys, like, get back into it and stuff like that. And it felt like Christian didn't want to take unnecessary bumps. But, man, this guy was bumping all over the place for his first match in 7 years. He did a frog splash off the top rope, missed a frog splash, took a suplex, took a big leg drop from Frankie Kazarian. He did a lot of stuff, even though it felt like the match was slow-paced, which I have no problem with. I am cool with slow-paced matches unless you're telling a story. These guys absolutely did tell a story. I thought this match was really good, and Christian Cage got the win at the end of it with the kill switch 1, 2, 3. So Christian got the win in his first match, all expected, but I really liked the way this match was laid out, and this is going to start, man, with Christian. He's going to outwork everybody. He's going to get his way to the top, and then eventually he will get to Kenny Omega and the AEW World Championship. So I need your takeaway on the opening match between Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian. And do you have the same insight as I do about how I thought about the match?
Yeah, we're pretty much on par with it. You can tell, during the match, Christian was getting a little bit gassed there. It's been 7 years. 7 years since he's last been in an actual wrestling match. But I got to say, man, he looked great. It really looked like overall he hadn't really lost a step. I didn't mention that comment. He did look a little gassed, but I really liked the format of the match like you did, Joseph. I like the fact that, Christian didn't go in there, House of Fire, really just dominate. Kazarian honestly dominated the whole match, really. Christian didn't get too much offense in up until we got into the later portion of the match, and then we started to see Christian break out those big moves of his. So I really liked the pacing. I really enjoyed how they just formatted everything, and Kazarian just really brought it to Christian, and Christian, just breaking out all those great moves of his, and I mean, honestly, man, for a guy in his age and at the point of his career, and this is his first match in 7 years, I mean, I'd say this was a big success. I really liked that they opened the show with this. AEW really knows how to open their shows hot, and I think they did an effective job here with Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian, and it's only up from here for Christian Cage, man. This is the first of many wins until he eventually gets to that world title picture, and we see Christian Cage and Kenny Omega eventually come to blows. Will that happen in Double or Nothing? Will it happen at a later point? We'll have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're pretty much on par with the opening match between Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian. We then had an expedition match. I have no idea. Exposition, right? Exhibition. Yeah. My bad. Stuttering words here, but we had an exhibition match between Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall. Now, the post-match angle, didn't expect it. The match was fine. Well, I was just going to get to the point. They had a fine match. QT was on the outside. Dustin was going to check on him, and QT, he kind of pushed him away a little bit. Then Cody let him inside the ring, and QT punched the Enforcer, Arn Anderson, right in the face. And he kind of was like, oh my God, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. And then we see basically the Nightmare Family implode. Aaron Solo, he goes after Lee Johnson. Nick Comoroto, he goes after Dustin, I think. And then Anthony Ogogo, who's been on commentary on Dark, seems like he's going to get into the wrestling now. They have all aligned themselves with QT Marshall. I don't know, man. Do we really need another faction in AEW? I mean, Jesus Christ. We have the Death Triangle, the Inner Circle, the Pinnacle, Team Taz. We have all these factions in AEW. The Nightmare Family. Do we really need to add another one with these guys? For me, I thought QT was going to lose, and he was going to turn heel, and he was going to take Nick Comoroto with him. But he's got this faction with him. And I hope I'm wrong by saying this, but I really don't see anybody in that faction getting a major push besides maybe Nick Comoroto, because he's got a great look. He really does. To me, he has got a great look to him, and I think he could have a bright future in AEW. But QT gave Dustin a brain buster under the steps, which he was bleeding. QT was about to give Cody a concerto, but Red Velvet made the save. And that was the segment. QT and his group walked off to the heel entrance side, and that was that. So Cody and QT, they had a fine match. The post-match angle was fine, but I'm not really, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm really not in favor of another faction because we have too many of them in AEW. I'm cool with factions, at least, but someone was right when they told me, yeah, we might have too many factions in AEW, but at least in AEW, they keep their factions together, unlike WWE when they broke up the Hurt Business Monday on Raw. But again, not here to talk about WWE, but I got to get your thoughts on this. I knew I would have a lot to say about this. I feel like I said a lot about it. So, Mr. Williams, I want to hear what you have to say about this situation with QT Marshall.
Yeah, the focus here really wasn't so much on the match itself. It was really just on what happened with the angle where it all started with QT punching Arn Anderson, and then we see what I certainly didn't expect. I think we both called it last week. You know, we thought QT was going to lose here, and he was just going to turn on Cody. It was just going to be him. I really did not expect at all that we would see other members of the Nightmare family join up with QT and Aaron Solo, Anthony Ogogo, and Nick Comoroto, but we got that tonight. I honestly enjoyed it. Now, I get the whole argument of the too many factions in AEW. I get it. In a way, where I think of it is like maybe this might be a part of the sports-centric kind of like vision that Tony Khan did. Like maybe it's like, you know, it's like football teams, for example, like the NFL or something. Maybe it's something like that where it's like, you know, Tony Khan's come up with all these different factions, like the Pinnacle, the Inner Circle, Death Triangle, QT's faction, Nightmare Family. You got all these different teams here. And maybe it's just kind of in a way, like it's part of that sports-centric vision. That's kind of how I want to think of it a little bit. It makes a little bit more sense like that. But I get the whole argument of too many factions at AEW. You don't want to kind of overload your shows with like too much. But I'm intrigued really to see where this goes. QT, I feel like this heel turn could do a good thing for him because he's honestly a very underrated competitor in my opinion. I think he has a lot of good to show in the ring, and you mentioned Nick Comoroto. He could be a breakout star in this group. I can see that too. I mean, you look at that guy, the dude is a beast. I don't see why you wouldn't look at a guy like that. You wouldn't want to push him. Now, Aaron Solo, you know, will they do much with him? Who knows? You know, the biggest thing he's really got going for him is that the fact that he was formerly engaged to Bailey. That's kind of like the biggest thing with him. But he's a good talent though. I mean, we'll have to see what happens with him. But Anthony Ogogo is very interesting because, you know, I remember all the way back. I think it was all the way back to like All Out 2019, where they like hyped up Anthony Ogogo and they were saying like, oh, he's coming. He's a former Olympic boxer, and like for the longest time we didn't see anything of Anthony Ogogo, and then finally he shows up on Dark. He's doing some commentary work with Taz and Excalibur. Now here he is joining up this new faction with QT Marshall. You know, who knows how far he can go. He's got a great look to him in his own right. I don't know how he is in the ring. We haven't gotten to see him at all in the ring, so who knows if he's a slouch or if he can go. I'm sure he's been training a lot in the Nightmare Factory, but overall, I just find it very intriguing at the moment. We'll have to see where this goes, but I definitely see, you know, Cody and his group with the Nightmare family going up against QT and his new faction. I thought the pile driver spot with Dustin was great. I thought that looked brutal. And then Red Velvet coming out to Cody's aid. And to be honest, for a second there, I really thought, like, QT was going to, like, he was backing away and he was going to come right back and actually do the concerto anyway, and Red Velvet was going to, like, flee. I thought that for a second. They didn't end up doing that. But it's going to be intriguing to see. I'd say for right now, I'm interested. They got me kind of hooked in. But I get the whole argument of too many factions at AEW. But the way, you know, like I mentioned, the way I kind of see it is it's probably just more of a sports-centric type of vibe, which is what AEW originally put out in their statement when they first formed AEW. So.
Yeah. Speaking about that chair shot and Red Velvet coming out, I actually thought when QT was backing up, it was like, okay. It kind of like was like remember the situation where the Dark Order took out the Nightmare Factory? Brandy was going to cover up Cody, and the Dark Order backed up, and then all of a sudden, in came Anna Jay, and she gave Brandy the chokehold. I thought QT was going to back up, and from behind, I thought Jade was actually going to come and attack Red Velvet, and maybe Jade is going to be a part of that faction, but Now thinking about it, it's like, does that really make sense for Jade Cargill to be in that faction? But excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. What happens next with this whole rivalry. I have no idea. I guess that's a good thing because it's unpredictability. So I guess we'll have to see and wait what happens with this whole Nightmare Family QT Marshall stuff. But it feels like that QT Marshall, he's got his own little group of boys right now. So we'll have to wait and see. Next match, we had Jon Moxley against your boy, Cesar Bononi. Cesar Bononi was in action once again last week, and I gotta ask again, where was Peter Avalon, dude? We saw Nemeth, we saw JD Drake, who's getting a TNT title match next week, but no Avalon. I'm pretty sure you're upset by that.
Oh, dude, I'm devastated. Peter Avalon is needed on Dynamite every single week. I mean, it's bringing down the shows, man. I mean, my God, the ratings are dropping as we speak with Peter Avalon not being on the shows. NXT's going to win. But, no. I don't. In all seriousness, I really don't know what's going on with Avalon. Maybe he's hurt. That's the only thing I can really think of. Maybe he's hurt right now. They're just kind of doing a little bit of stuff with Bononi at the moment. He's kind of just, Bononi's kind of just a big figure there, and I guess to just enhance the main event talent. You know, he enhanced, who was it last week?
Hangman Page.
Hangman Page. He enhanced Page, and then this week he's enhanced Moxley. So I guess they're just kind of putting Bononi there for just a spot to fill to enhance the main event talent right now. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Peter Avalon. But man, we just need that pretty face on TV again, man. We need that beautiful face, you know. But this was fine. Moxley, you know, Moxley doing Moxley things, and you love to see it. I love Jon Moxley. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
So Moxley's just, you know, being Jon Moxley. We saw more of him later on the show, which we'll get into. But this was fine for what it was. Bononi got some of his stuff in, and then Moxley ends up winning with the devastating chokehold. And yeah, I mean, it was what it was. It was simple to the point, and yeah, it enhances Moxley.
Yeah. Now, I really feel like there's nothing much to take away from the match, but I want to talk about one of the matches next week. JD Drake, he is getting a TNT title match next week against Darby Allin, which is very interesting. And just to point it out right now, for those of you who don't know who JD Drake is, you're really missing out. If I were you, I would. I don't know what's going on with the WWE Network. They're moving to Peacock right now. But I would consider searching up some of JD Drake's matches on YouTube because this guy is he's very good. Hard hitter. And I think a lot of people haven't seen him, but I feel like when they do see him, he's going to be somebody that people want to see more in AEW. So I'm actually very excited for JD Drake versus Darby Allin next week on Dynamite. I want to get your quick takeaway on that before we move into a big segment that happened.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. JD Drake, I'm an avid watcher of AEW Dark and now AEW Elevation on Mondays. But JD Drake, I've seen his work, and he's definitely no joke. I've been familiar with him before AEW Dark. I remember his one match that he had. I think it was Evolve's 10-year or 10th anniversary or whatever that they had on the network, and he had the match with Austin Theory. I remember really enjoying that match. And JD Drake, it's like, he doesn't usually have that that WWE, look of like a main event, big, muscular dude. But that shouldn't matter at all anyway, because if you have the talent there, then you should be pushed. And JD Drake is definitely a great talent. I think this match next week will definitely have a different aspect to it. You got the Daredevil, quick-paced Darby Allin going up against the heavier JD Drake, who is more of an old-school brawler type. Now, I really enjoyed that. One match that comes to mind really with JD Drake is that first match he had on Darby with Eddie Kingston. I thought that was a very good match that they had. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in the ring with Darby Allin next week. Hopefully, this will get people talking more about JD Drake, because I think he's somebody that could be a nice, at least a nice mid-card act if they want him to be in AEW.
I didn't see that match, but the first match of AEW I saw with JD Drake was a special on Dark. I think it was a Saturday night, and he went up against Chuck Taylor. I remember that being a very good match, and then I remember seeing I think it was him in a tag team match. I think it was himself and Ryan Nemeth against Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. I remember really liking that match as well. So that's that. I'm really looking forward to that match next week between JD Drake and Darby Allin. It's going to be a big match for JD Drake for sure. But we had the Pinnacle's gift. MJF was supposed to give a gift to the Pinnacle. He said, "This is a dirty locker room. I think we all know we don't want to be in here." And he says, this is basically, he opens the door, and it's the inner circle. Then he opens the front door. And he's like, "We got to get out of here." And Hager is standing there. He punches MJF in the face, and the brawl starts. This was fantastic. This was a fantastic brawl, dude. We had Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears fighting in a hallway. Guevara gave Spears what's his finisher name? Do you know?
I can't remember. I mean, it's basically just the go to sleep. It's a burning hammer and the go to sleep, really. So
yeah.
That's basically the move.
And then he takes Shawn Spears, who's laying on the ground, and he slams the door right onto Shawn Spears. So that took him out. Then he had Jake Hager and Wardlow fighting. Hager gave Wardlow a power bomb through a table, an emergency table in the training room. We then had, this was my favorite part, we had Santana and Ortiz brawling with FTR, and even Tully got in the brawl as well. Cash got thrown into a big bucket of water, ice cold water, it looked like, and then Santana threw a lounge chair right at Dax Harwood, and Harwood was backing up. And all you could see is you could see blood all over Dax's face, and that was great. And then we saw MJF and Jericho. They were brawling. They brawled into the bathroom, and Jericho shoved MJF's face right into the toilet in the toilet water. MJF was drowned, and then he threw MJF on the wall, and this is a nice little throwback to when Jericho was feuding with Shawn Michaels. I think he said back with Shawn Michaels, he said something like, "This is just the beginning," or something like that. I think
the worst is yet to come.
The worst is yes. He told MJF the worst has yet to come, and then he threw MJF into a soda machine when broke all the glass. That was fantastic. I love that brawl. The Inner Circle is back. It was nice and simple and not overly scripted. I love this. This is honestly one of my favorite things on the show. Probably next to the main event. But yeah, I love this brawl. This is continuing the feud between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, and I think we all know where this goes in May.
Yep, exactly, man. I completely agree with you, Joe. So this is one of my biggest highlights of the night tonight, the Inner Circle return. Now, I know we had pitched in our previous reviews that, we were expecting them to maybe return a little bit later, sometime around middle of May, getting closer and closer to Double or Nothing on May 30th, and they ended up coming back tonight. I didn't mind it. I really didn't. I mean, they ended up giving us an excellent brawl segment here. You had Hager and Wardlow. You had Santana Ortiz with Harwood and and Wheeler, and then you had Jericho and MJF. It all fit in. Spears and Guevara. It all fit together so well. They did this brawl so great. Now I popped big when Jericho threw MJF through that Pepsi fridge, and he told him the worst yet to come. I mean, I love that callback to that awesome feud in 2008 from between Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho. One of the best feuds in that era of WWE for sure. But yeah, everything about this segment was just awesome. It was fantastic, and like you said, Joseph, I think we are all seeing where this is going, and believe it starts with the little acronym BNG. BNG. What could that stand for? Oh, blood and guts. I think we could see that happening May 30th at Double or Nothing, and I love the sound of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We had Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. Now, I'm not even going to attempt to go over this match move for move because it was just way too much to take in the head. But, my God, the first thing I'm going to say is, number one, Tony Khan needs to sign Laredo Kid. He is so good. Last week, he was better this week. Tony Khan needs to sign Laredo Kid to a contract. Number two, you might agree with me on this. You might disagree with me on this. If you agree, that's if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you agree with me, that's cool. But I think Laredo Kid would fit better in the Death Triangle than Pac would. I am just throwing that out there. I think Pac, these guys are obviously baby faces. Nobody is going to boo the Lucha Brothers. So you could put these three as a baby face, and you could let Pac go do his own thing and be a heel and feud with Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. So that's who I want to see Darby drop the title to eventually. I want to see him drop the title to Pac. But this was a great match. Omega got the win with the one-winged angel over the Laredo Kid and got the win for his team. After the match, Jon Moxley comes walking out on the stage, staring at Kenny Omega. Then out come the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks come out, and they stare down the Good Brothers and Omega. All three of them charge at the Good Brothers and Omega, and they clear the ring. They don't brawl, but they just left. Now, next week, first off, before we get to next week, I want to get your thoughts on the six-man with Omega and the Good Brothers going over the Lucha Bros and the Laredo Kid. Then we'll talk about what's going to happen next week.
Well, I needed a drink for sure after that match. My goodness. I'm definitely with you there, Joseph. I even mentioned it on Twitter. Tony Khan needs to sign Laredo Kid. I don't care what it takes. You need to get this guy under contract. I mean, this guy is just as amazing as Pentagon and Rey Fenix. And honestly, man, I don't think that's a bad take at all when you said that Laredo Kid could fit better in the Death Triangle than Pac would. I really don't disagree with that. I think that they fit so well together, clearly, and Pac is, you look at Pac and he's somebody you really does see as, being pushed as a singles guy. He doesn't just seem like really the kind of guy to really be in a group. He fits better in that singles. It's like, lone vigilante kind of gimmick with him. But, Pac's still hurt at the moment. Eventually we're going to get that tag title match with Pac and Phoenix and the Young Bucks, and that's going to be fantastic there. Now, yeah, but this match, this six-man was just fantastic overall. I mean, I was winded after it. It was just like, it's so exciting to see the Lucha Brothers in the ring. I mean, every time, whether it's Phoenix or it's Pentagon, whether it's both of them, and they're just amazing to watch. What amazed me was Phoenix did that tightrope walk on the top rope. I don't know where he came from, but he just appeared off camera. I don't know where in the world he came from, but that dude is seriously superhuman. I don't know what in the world that the guy does to just do the things that he is capable of in that ring, but it's unbelievable. But, next week we got the 6-man with Omega and the Good Brothers against Moxley and the Young Bucks. Now, before this, we actually haven't mentioned this yet. Before this match actually happened, we did see Matt Jackson telling Callis come to get into a conversation backstage where Callis was like kind of demeaning Matt Jackson. Then he slapped Matt Jackson in the face and he pressured Matt Jackson to hit him back. Matt refrained, and then Callis called him pathetic. And so that's a very interesting little thing there. It was Nick Jackson was nowhere involved in that conversation. It was strictly Matt Jackson and Don Callis. Where does that lead? Does that lead into the match next week? Now, people have already brought up tonight on Twitter about the Young Bucks turning on Moxley next week in that 6-man tag, and then we see full-fledged heel Young Bucks, which I've actually seen a few people talk. They say that they miss the Bucks being heels. They feel like as baby faces, it doesn't really work that well. But and I kind of see where their point is there. But we could very well see that happen next week. We'll have to see. But it should be a great 6-man tag. We're going to see more great 6-man tag action next week. Will the Bucks turn on Moxley? That's the big question on the table. We'll have to see. But I think it would kind of tie into that future Pac and Phoenix match with the Young Bucks, since Pac and Phoenix are baby faces, and you could see the Young Bucks turn heel, and we get heel versus faces for the tag title. So we'll have to see what happens. But that's on a lot of people's minds right now.
Yeah, man, I am very much looking forward to the 6-man next week. We're getting a 6-man tag that is pay-per-view worthy, with Moxley and the Young Bucks against the Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. We'll have to see if the Young Bucks do turn on Moxley and they go full-fledged heel. And that should be very, very interesting. That's probably going to be the biggest thing that happens next week on that show. But then we had a women's tag team match with the Bunny and Nyla Rose against Hikaru Shida and Ty Conti. This match was okay. I didn't really... Ty Conti took the pin from the Bunny. I don't know if they're setting up the Bunny for a potential women's title match, but there's one spot that made me cringe so hard, and we see these spots all the time. I hate it so much. We have the Dark Order brawling with the Matt Hardy family office, or Hardy family office, I think is their alliance name. They're brawling with Private Party, the Butcher, and the Blade. Then we see Hikaru Shida do a crossbody onto the Bunny, who's standing with the Dark Order, and they catch Shida. Then everybody's standing in the same pile, waiting for Ty Conti to do her move, and she knocks everybody down. It just looks so ridiculous. It really does. What do you think?
I agree with you. Those spots are always so dumb. It's one thing to do a big spot like that. It's another thing to really drag it out, and then you can tell they're intentionally waiting on the spot to happen. I definitely agree with you there. That was a spot I was just I saw it happen to them. I as well cringed, because I'm like, oh man, they're doing this again. It's AEW, I think, really needs to just stop doing those spots altogether, or just fix it to where it doesn't look so staged, because they really just need to get the timing down better with that, because it's just when you do it like that, the way it was done tonight, it comes off looking so staged, and it's you want to be able to tell a good story with these matches and not make it look so staged,
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. But the Bunny got the win over Ty Conti, and it sets up them for a match next week on Dynamite. Speaking of next week on Dynamite, we have some matches announced. Now, before that, I told Wesley this last week with the busy week that is going to be next week with WrestleMania week. There will be no AEW Dynamite review there will be no Dynamite review next Wednesday here on the channel. I will catch up and watch it sometime next week, but I haven't told you that. I haven't told you yet, but I think what we're going to do is that following week, the 14th, we are probably going to discuss about this show that's going to happen next week, and the show that's going to happen 2 weeks. So you're basically going to get me and Wesley talking about 2 shows in one review. So what do you think about that, my friend?
I think that sounds great. A double feature for the audience, a big fight feel. I think that's a big treat. I mean, we're giving them a big bone there, and I think they definitely want that big bone, and I think we should just give it to them, man. Double feature, I'm all for it.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Your bad news is you're not getting a review next week because I'll be watching NXT TakeOver probably. I don't know about you, but I'll be watching TakeOver, and the good news is you guys are going to get a double review on April 14th. So that's going to be a big night here on the Big Fight Field channel. So be on the lookout for that. But for next week, like we said before, we have JD Drake versus Darby Allin for the TNT title. We have that big 6-man tag. We have Jurassic Express versus Bear Country, which AEW is hyping up a lot. We have the Bunny versus Ty Conti. We have the return of the Inner Circle. They're going to do a segment next week. And am I missing anything? I feel like I'm missing something.
No, I think that's about everything they've announced, at least up to this point right now with next week's Dynamite. And I do want to point it out too. I will be tuning in to NXT TakeOver next week on both that next Wednesday, next Thursday. And Dynamite's always recorded here at my house, so I'll just catch up. I'll probably do what I did when they did that Saturday Night Dynamite when Brody Lee won the TNT title from Cody. You know, I watched TakeOver that night, and then I watched the Dynamite episode right after, and then I live tweeted for that. So I'm probably going to do the same format, considering that I don't work on Thursdays. I got, the time I can stay up as late as I want, on that night. So I'll watch TakeOver and then, tune in to Dynamite right after and live tweet for that. So for all you people who follow me on Twitter, there's a gift for you right there. I'll be tweeting 2 wrestling shows on that next Wednesday night 1 of NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. And then you got AEW Dynamite immediately after. But yes, it's got to be a busy week next week. That's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Are you ready to talk about Arcade Anarchy?
Yeah, where can I begin?
Now, time out. Time out.
That was amazing.
First off, before we talk about this match, I legit thought that I knew this was going to be in the main event because AEW was hyping it up so much this week. There were even wrestlers coming out saying, you're not going to want to miss this match. Taz came out and said something. I think Tony Khan said something today about the Arcade Anarchy. But I don't know about you, but I legit thought this was going to be a cinematic match. They were going to fight in a random location. And I legit thought they were going to fight in an arcade. I don't know if you got the same feeling, but that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I literally thought we were going to get a cinematic match.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
We didn't, Yeah, it was just a regular main event on Dynamite in the middle of the ring. They had everything set up at the sides with the arcade machines, and then they had like little prize stand with got the trash can lid and got the AEW world title, like the toy belt. So they got the whole arcade setup. But I legit thought we were going to get a cinematic match, but we did not get that. We just got a regular gimmick main event. So.
Now, as well, I think everybody can agree that this feud has gone on for way too long. It should have ended a long time ago, and no one really cared about it. But if this was the big blow-off match, this was a hell of a way to end the feud, man. I loved this main event. I loved it the same as I did Britt Baker Thunder Rosa. It was not better than that, but I loved this main event, dude. This was a hell lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. This wasn't Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa so far for me. That's like probably AEW's best Dynamite main event up to this point in 2021. Yeah, it did. But Arcade Anarchy in its own right was an excellent gimmick main event. And this is the second time now we've seen the best friends involved in a gimmick main event. Of course, the first time being that excellent parking lot brawl with Santana Ortiz, where we see Trent's mom come in at the end and giving the middle finger to Santana Ortiz. I mean, that was another amazing main event that we had right there back in 2020. And now here we are, second time. We got Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, and they just tore the house down in this match with Kip Sabian and Miro. And I agree with Joseph. I honestly, going into this match tonight, I really wasn't all that excited for it. I was just waiting for this feud to just hurry up and end because I've been over this feud for a long time. I'm just ready to see Miro be on his own. And I want to see Orange Cassidy move on to bigger and better things because ever since his feud with Chris Jericho, I felt like he's lost a lot of steam. And not as many people are really talking about him now, and it sucks because I love Orange Cassidy. And I want him to, have the biggest success in AEW, and I think he will. But he's just cooled off a lot. But yeah, I mean, this feud, I've been so ready for it to end, and I think this finally was the big blow off. I don't see this continuing anymore. I think this was it. But for what it was, man, I loved every single second of this main event. It had so many amazing elements to it. Really, I mean, it got me in such a pumped up mood because it was just that freaking good. I mean, this was like definitely the best part about this entire boring feud that I've just been dreading. And I'm just so happy that AEW exceeded my expectations once again.
Now I'm going to try to remember this match from the top. So these guys are brawling. Kip Sabian and Orange Cassidy are brawling. Kip Sabian gets slammed into a video in an arcade game. Orange Cassidy's hitting him over the head with some hammer. It didn't really look that hard, but Miro takes Orange Cassidy, throws him shoulder first into the ring post, and then, he then takes a steel chair and starts slamming Cassidy with it. Chuck Taylor comes in with a kendo stick. You have Cassidy and Taylor hitting Miro with a trash can and kendo stick. Then Miro suplexed Taylor through the barricade rail. And I'm talking about the match. And you know it's another thing I loved about this match? This match had no commercials.
Yeah, that was a great aspect. I really didn't even expect them to not have commercials in this main event. I thought they were releasing going to be one commercial break, but I'm really happy they went commercial free with this main event. I feel like with how fun this match was, I feel like with no commercial breaks, I mean, it's always a plus to just have a big main event like this and just not have commercial breaks. I mean, it's just like we really need more of that if we can get it. I mean, I know TNT, they have their ways, and they can't always probably operate like that, but whenever we can get it, it's always a huge plus in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get to the start of the main part of this entire match. Cassidy is looking to take out Kip Sabian. He hits him with Adam Page's Deadeye, which he kicked out at 2. Then he hits the Falcon Punch. Penelope Ford then pulls Orange Cassidy off the ring, and she gives him a low blow. Then she goes to throw him onto a video game board, but Kris Statlander pops up from the board, slams the glass onto Penelope Ford. They brawl, and she hits sort of like a white noise onto Penelope Ford through the air hockey table, which was awesome spot. Kris Statlander is back. I really liked that spot. I did not expect. I tell you what, I did not expect Kris Statlander to appear in this main event tonight.
Me neither, man. I know from what I've been seeing from her on Twitter is that she was continuing to rehab from her injury, man. When she showed up tonight, dude, I popped so big. I love Kris Statlander. I hated so much that when she got hurt, that she was going to be out for such a long time. I hated it so much because she has honestly been one of the biggest bright spots about this women's division. And the fact that she was going to be on the shelf for such a long time, it really brought me down because it was like, man, she's going to be so missed. But I knew throughout that time when she came back, it was going to be in a big way. And I don't think you could have done it in a bigger way than you did tonight. I mean, I loved the fact that we got to see her back. I love the fact that she is back. And now it's only going to do better things for this women's division going forward. Man, Kris Statlander is amazing. That spot with Penelope Ford, oh my goodness, a thing of beauty. that woman is just, she's so great. Her gimmick is awesome. And I just cannot wait to see her, back in this women's division, back in the fold. And that was one of the great big surprises in this match.
Then we had Miro brawling on the outside with Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. He had a table, and then they were brawling. Then all of a sudden, you see Miro stalking Taylor and Cassidy. A white van starts to pull up, and I knew exactly who this was. I'm like, oh shit, Sue's here. She pulls up with Trent. She gives Trent a kiss to the cheek. And it's 3-on-1 on Miro. Miro takes all of them out. Then Trent, Cassidy hits Miro. I think he hit him with like a chair, and he hit him in the head with a steel chair, I think. And then Trent speared Miro through the table. And you know what I really liked about this? They made Miro look strong here because it took 3 people. It took Trent, it took Chuck Taylor, and it took Orange Cassidy to take down Big Miro. And I really liked that it took 3 people to take down Miro. Then at the end, Kip looks very sad. He knows that it's all up to him. Chuck Taylor gets a hold of him. He hits the awful waffle through 2 tables on the floor, and Chuck Taylor pins Kip Sabian, and we got a beautiful ending with the best friends in Orange Cassidy hugging. Kris Statlander was in the end, and they all gave Sue a thumbs up. That might have been one of the best endings to Dynamite in 2021. That was a feel-good moment right there. That entire match was a feel-good moment right there, man. I can't express it enough how much I love this match.
Yeah, I think when we get to the end of 2021, this is definitely going to be one of the biggest moments that people remember throughout this year for AEW. Just awesome all around. I think you have an awesome show when you got the Pixies playing you out at the end with Where Is My Mind. I love that. That's Orange Cassidy's new theme. But Trent's mom, Kris Statlander, the match itself was great. I mean, all the elements in this match just came together and meshed together so well. And it ended up being a recipe for an excellent main event to an excellent show. And I mean, AEW, man, the home runs, the hits, they keep coming. And I hope they continue to come more and more. Next week's show, we got another great show lined up next week, man. Now, of course, both of us won't be launching live, but we will still have you covered in 2 weeks with that double feature episode, baby. You don't want to miss out on that. I mean, why would you want to miss out on a double feature from Joseph Conlon and Wesley Williams? 2 is better than 1, right?
Absolutely, man. 2 is better. That is going to be our biggest review yet we've done together. So I'm just letting you guys know right now. Be sure to be here on the Big Fight Fuel channel on Wednesday night, April 14th. That is going to be a hell of a we're going to put on a hell of a show for you guys. I can't wait. So that's it for tonight at the Dynamite review. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the review. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has tuned into the Dynamite reviews, because so far we have hit over 100 views for every Dynamite review in March. The Dynamite reviews have been doing amazing in 2021, and I felt like we went out with a bang for the month of March, and we're going to open with a bang on April 14th, so I can't wait for that. Comment down below your guys' thoughts about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Hit that like button if you like what you heard from myself and Wesley Williams tonight on the review. Follow me on Twitter, @Connor_Joseph. My friend, where can they follow you on Twitter?
Well, like I say every week, baby, big _West 18 on Twitter. I give you some of the best tweets in the IWC. I live tweet AEW Dynamite every single Wednesday. And as you know, I'm here. I'm Big Fight Fuel Joseph. Again, Big underscore West 18. That's lowercase BIG underscore WES18. I'm sorry to break all of your hearts that we will not be here next week, but do not fret, because in 2 weeks time from this night going forward, we will have a double feature set up for all you lovely fans out there. And genuinely, I want to be in all seriousness here. I want to genuinely thank all of you guys for welcoming me into Big Fight Feel, and I thank Joseph, of course, for asking me to be his partner on these shows, man. It's been a pleasure, really. It has. I love having a platform to talk about pro wrestling. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and I want to thank all of you fans out there that continue to watch us talk about pro wrestling. I've been trying to spread the word a lot about these reviews to some of my friends and some of my family members, and then some of them have tuned in, and it's just really, it's very much appreciated. I just love having a platform to talk about pro wrestling. The fact that people care about hearing what myself and what Joseph have to say means a lot, and I just want to say I love you guys, and we really appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. That's a heartfelt promo you just cut there, man. But
I think I just got a lot of people crying. I probably brought some tears to the club tonight. I don't know.
Let's just say this: you cut a better promo than Braun Strowman. So.
Oh, dude! Oh, you mean the choo-choo train? Oh, choo-choo train? Yeah. Oh, golly! I should add a train noise to my promos from now on. It'll probably make me better and get me more over, right?
Oh. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe, and as always, stay classy.